Chapter 1: The Princess and the Witch. Sophie had waited all her life to be kidnapped, but tonight all the other children of Gabaldon waited in their beds. If the schoolmaster took them, they'd never return, never lead a full life, never see their family again. Tonight, these children dreamed of a red-eyed thief with the body of a beast come to rip them from their sheets and stifle their scream. Sophie dreamed of princess instead. She had arrived at the castle hall, so in her honor, only to find the hall filled with 100 suitors and no other girls inside. Here, for the first time, were boys who deserved her, she thought as she walked the line. Hair shiny and thick, muscle-taut, blue shirts, skin smooth and tan, beautiful and attentive like princess should be. But as she came to one who seemed better than the rest, with brilliant blue eyes and ghostly white hair, the one who felt like happily ever after, a hammer broke through the walls of the room and smashed the princess to shards. Sophie's eyes were open to morning. The hammer was real. The princess were not. Father, I don't sleep 9 hours. My eyes look swollen. Everyone's rattling on that you're to be taken this year, her father said, nailing a misshapen bar over her bedroom window, now completely obscured by locks, spikes, and screws. They tell me to shear your hair, muddy up your face, as if I believe all the fairy tale hogwash. But no one's getting in here tonight, that's for sure. He pounded at the frinning crack as exclamation. Sophie rubbed her ears and frowned at her once lovely window. Now something you'd see in a witch den. Locks? Why? Didn't anyone think of that before? I don't know why they all think it's you, he said, silver hair slick with sweat. If it's goodness that schoolmaster fellow wants, you'll take Cunilda's daughter. Sophie tensed. Belle? Perfect child that one is, he said. Brings her father home-cooked lunches at the meal, gives the leftovers to the poor hog in the square. Sophie heard the edge in her father's voice. She had never once cooked a full meal for him, even after her mother died. Naturally, she had good reason. The oil and smoke could clog her pores, but she knew it was a sore point. This didn't mean her father had gone hungry. Instead, she offered him her own favorite foods: mashed beets, broccoli stew, boiled asparagus, steamed spinach. He hadn't ballooned into a blimp like Belle's father, precisely because she hadn't brought him home-cooked lamb, fricassees, and cheese truffles at the meal. As for the poor hag in the square, that old crone, despite claiming hunger day after day, was fat. And if Belle had anything to do with it, then she wasn't good at all, but the worst kind of evil. Sophie smiled back at her father. Like you said, it's all hogwash. She swept out of bed and slammed the bathroom door. She studied her face in the mirror. The rude awakening had taken its toll. Her waist long hair, the color spun gold, didn't have its usual sheen. Her jade green eyes looked faded. Her luscious red lips are touch dry. Even the glow of her creamy peach skin had dulled, but still a princess. She thought. Her father couldn't see she was special, but her mother had. You are too beautiful for this world, Sophie, she said with her last breath. Her mother had gone somewhere better, and now so would she. Tonight she would be taken into the woods. Tonight she would begin a new life. Tonight she would live out her fairy tale. To be continued.